Okay, so let's have a look at the handle now. So we're going to create a cross section in here that represents the handle. We'll start with a circle, I think, from the center of here. If we can find a center again. Trying to get to snap to center. There we go. Okay, so there's our start for that, and we're going to have a line that comes across here, one that's going to hit the very top edge of that circle. There's a knot. It looks like I've not drawn my circle correctly, so what I want to do is another circle. I'll explain why in a minute. I want to make sure this circle is, I'm holding down shift so that the edit points all line up correctly. So I'll just demonstrate what I mean. I'm going to turn on the edit points for this one and turn on the edit points for this one. You can see the outer circle has got these nice square edit points and this one does not. So I'm going to undo. I'm actually going to delete this circle here. Just draw another one. I'm making sure I hold down shift this time. Okay, so now I can snap to a knot. The knot before, because this was rotated, was around here somewhere. So the reason I squared that up is because I can now snap to the exact top of that circle. This edit point could come a little bit further over, actually, over here somewhere. Got a vertical going on here. Just getting these points in the right place. Move these edit points across a little bit. This diagonal line here represents the groove we put in, so this handle pretty much fills it. And we can take this edit point, this one actually down here somewhere. These are going to have a curve in between them. It's actually quite a sharp curve, that's fine. So picking these curves we've just done, it might not be on the same plane just yet. Let's have a look. Trim. No, so they're not on the same plane. So escape, we're going to get out of the trim command. Transform, project to C plane, delete the input, yes. Now we can trim all these pieces. We're going to make sure these two curves are joining up in the correct place. Again, I'm just going to drag away, turn on the end snap, snap back to it. You need to make sure there's a radius on this bottom edge here, between here and here, larger than that. Let's try a 3. Three is too big, so it won't let me do it. Let's try a right click to repeat the command, type in 2. Okay, that works well. And I actually might, instead of me trying to draw a curve in, I'm actually going to let the computer do a radius here. I'm just going to move these edit points across one another, trim those off. Now we can do a radius. We've got 2. We know 2 is about that big. This one's going to be quite a bit bigger. So let's try a 4. 1 and 2. Okay, good. And I think this will be the same radius. And now we should be able to edit, select curves, join them all together. So you can see now in principle, if I rotate this from the center there, whoops, from the center, you've got a handle here that's going to pop up and you can grab hold of it. So we just need to make sure, or make this curve now into what will turn into a 3D object. Let's move this across here. Make sure it fits inside this little canyon thing we've built. It's actually quite tight on the real piece, so I'm fine with where that is. I'm just going to mirror that across. Just going to mirror about the midpoint, turning on the mid snap of this piece. Going to loft between those two, this one and this one. And we're going to cap that to that capped, so the curves were good. And we're going to put a very minimal radius on the two edges. Let's see if we can pick those through the geometry. Should be here somewhere. Yep, there we go. And right now this piece of plastic is interfering. So we just need to cut a rectangle through this handle we've done. Let's move that so it's central. I'm going to extrude this through, split that piece we've built with our new extrude. Oops, deleted the wrong piece there. Split our extrude with the handle and delete all these pieces away so that now fits. Join them together and mirror this across to the other side. And we now need to put a hole through what we've just built. So back to our center snap. I'm going to extrude this curve. Type B on the keyboard so it extrudes in both directions. I'm going to extrude that all the way through both of those. Pick these two. Hold down Control, click the pieces we want, delete the pieces we don't. Split our tube with these two. And I'm then going to delete away the pieces we don't want. So I'll have to do that manually, I think. Should be a piece in there. If we now pick all of that, join it together. Now, up until now, all these parts have been quite simple as far as molding goes. They've been kind of one-directional molding. In the case of like this main surface, it's like vertically up and down. This handle, because of its nature, we've got holes cut in multiple directions, which means it's going to be a more expensive mold to do this handle. It means it's got slides in it. So basically it has several parts of the mold that come in various directions, and then pieces would slide through and push away other parts as well. So then you pour the plastic in, pull the slides out, and then you basically got holes in several directions. So this is somewhat contrary to what we've done with everything else. It just means it's a more complicated, more expensive part. I'm actually going to delete away one side because there's another detail I need to add into this one. I'm just going to cut a cube out of this underneath. Again, not trying to do a molding tutorial now, but one other thing with molded pieces, if you've got something thicker than kind of 3mm, you start to get really bad sink marks. Like the plastic won't flow into something that thick. So quite often pieces like this are hollowed out on the inside. So I'm going to split this rectangle with this. Keep the top piece. I'm going to split this with the rectangle we've just made. Delete that bottom piece. Join those together. Just going to hide this just for a sec so you can see this has got a hole under here. And it's also going to have a hole because this handle will be too thick in this direction. But I'm not going to do that yet because there's more parts of the handle to build. So mirror. In fact, let's undo. Let's bring back our tray. Now we'll mirror this across. MIR about 0. So we've got to put a bar across here. It's got a few more details, kind of like hand grips on it. So we'll do that part in the next lesson. And we've got 2 pins to put in underneath to hold the handle on.